firsthand those horrific scenes, or who have traveled to those countries where I've been, where I've seen it face to face. I've seen the evil that Dr. Zuhdi Jasser and Asra Nomani talked about. I've seen it face to face. I know how much these terror organizations hate us. They have no problem waiting. I've talked to them. I know exactly where they're coming from. If they say, we hate you, your way of life will never exist here, you are in our line of sight and we will target you, we want to destroy the West, guess what? I absolutely believe them. They are not telling me a lie. They are telling the truth. Right? Right. But I also, and I'm going to get back to that, I just don't want to leave that hanging in the air before I get back to answering your question, Matt. I also met some of the most amazing Muslim people that I've ever, my close friends, you know, people who I still talk to. In fact, today on September 11th, I have a great friend named Shardil, who, when I was in Afghanistan, my very first trip, he was there. He is also an American citizen. There's a long story behind that, but he assisted the United States during the time of the Soviets. And Shardil pretty much knows everyone in Afghanistan. And he said to me, you know, I'll never forget, Sara, I will give you a trip through Afghanistan you will never experience. I said, okay, why not? I don't think my editor was too happy because it was me, Shardil, and his father-in-law, Yarmamat. And we drove through all of Afghanistan. No bodyguards, just me and Shardil, and we traveled through the mountains, through the passes up to Panjshir Valley, through Mazar Sharif. There were so many different little stops we made along the way, and so many wonderful people that I met, and so many allies of the United States. Muslims that did not want the Taliban in Afghanistan. Muslim people that were fighting them every single day. And I even went up to the hill where they buried the great Massoud. Now, a lot of people don't know this, but September 11th, Massoud was a leader in Panjshir who helped the United States fight off the Soviets. Basically, the CIA gave his group the Stinger missiles that helped fight the Soviets and push them out of Afghanistan. I went up to his gravesite. A lot of people don't remember that Massoud also warned the United States days before that Al-Qaeda was planning an attack. But we weren't sharing information. And so that information just disappeared. And the attack happened. So we have to be open, and we have to be understanding, and we have to be willing to listen to one another. And Matt, back to your question. We can't be afraid to talk to people like they're people and to hold people accountable. I don't care what color you are or what religion you are or where you came from. If you attack my country, I have a right to question it. If you're anti-Semitic, I have a right to question you. You can't hold me hostage because you're a woman or because you're a woman of color or because of your religion. If anybody can question me and question my nation on its decisions or my people or my own decisions, then I have the right to do the same. I don't even feel conflicted about that. I have no guilt. Why should you?
So this whole concept of go back to where you came from and this kind of rhetoric, it seems like, to boil it down, if you are here and you're an American and you think America is such a bad place, why are you here?
Right.
It doesn't make sense. There's so many countries to live in.
That's right. No, you're absolutely right, Matt, because, and I'm going to talk to you as a daughter of an immigrant mother, a woman who had an accent, a woman who didn't get to finish her degree because she was working so hard to take care of her family. She worked in a factory when she came from Cuba. My mom told me the first thing she did when she got to California, she couldn't hardly speak any English. She walked with one of her sisters down to the Goodwill, picked out a pair of shoes because all she brought from Cuba was a little suitcase with hardly nothing in it, cut off the back of the heels so that she could walk to work because she had nothing. But she went to work. And you know what she said? I loved this country from the minute I landed in it. And when people asked her, so you're Cuban, right? And she'd say, no, I'm not Cuban. I'm an American. I'm an American. I love this country. So you're absolutely right. The most important thing, look, we all can criticize our government. We can be watchdogs as investigative journalists. We can question our leaders, our congressional officials, our president, even if they don't like it. It's okay. But we can't bash our nation and tear it apart in front of our enemies. Because what does that say to us? That weakens us in the eyes of our enemies, whether that's Russia, China, Al-Qaeda, Iran. They just look at our nation and see that division, and they want to move right on in. And that's it. But when people here do that, we have the right to stand up to them and ask that question. Well, if you hate it so much here, why are you here? Or what are you intending to do to change that? And I feel fortunate that I'm a daughter of an immigrant. I feel fortunate that I speak Spanish and I can, go to Mexico and communicate and talk to people and talk to the people that are crossing the border. But I also tell the truth. And I'm not afraid to ask the tough questions. I'm not afraid to ask those questions. You know why? Because I'm not prejudiced. Because I don't have anything to apologize for. Because I treat people like I would want to be treated. That's it.
That's beautiful. And my wife Mercy shares your Cuban heritage. And
she's so cool.
I want to know if you only speak Spanish when you're angry or you speak Spanish all the time. 'Cause I only hear Spanish when someone's angry.
Well, when I speak Spanish, I'm pretty much angry.
Yeah. I know, people say, do you speak Spanish? I always say, un poquito. I know all the swear words. I get to hear them all the time.
My husband does the same thing. He's like, oh no, Sarah's speaking Spanish. And he's like heading out of the room. Who are you talking to?
So
he speaks a little, though.
I got up this morning, and obviously, as we said, for all of us, it's a moving day. It's a memorable day. And I think we saw from Congresswoman Omar with an early tweet this morning, and you see this kind of constant thing about what is really the biggest challenge facing America. In her early morning tweet, it was the homage to climate change. And we hear this all the time, like we heard it from President Obama, the biggest threat facing America is climate change. And so you see this kind of muddying up of the true challenges that we have. And on a day like today, it's obvious, right? Mm-hmm. How is it that passes as sophisticated observance of global affairs?
I don't know how. I mean, they can say those things with a straight face, right? I mean, this is the biggest threat to America is our inability to see the truth. And I think we were talking...
Or to teach the truth,
Or
right?
to teach the truth in our universities. And we are to blame for that. A lot of us, every single one of us. And we think we send our kids to the universities, they're getting a great education. We never even thought that a lot of the people that are teaching our children diametrically opposed to what our nation stands for. And our kids are going to school and learning, that the biggest issue for them is climate change. And we have got to globalize more, and we've got to tear down those walls and push away the borders.
Sarah, there's a reason why literally thousands of kids, a lot of high school kids, are coming to our events, to Charlie Kirk's events, to Ben Shapiro's speeches. I think a lot of them know it's a pile of, I'll use some Spanish, caca.
A paca? I had another Spanish word for it, but I won't use it.
Right.
I think caca is more appropriate. Yeah, and you're right. I've attended a lot of the Turning Point events and CPAC events, and you're seeing so many more young people because you know what? Thank God for Matt Schlapp, Charlie Kirk, and others. Thank God for them. Because you're actually teaching our kids the truth. Capitalism is cool. It's cool to be free. It's cool to make your own decisions. It's cool to be proud of who you are and to stand up for what you believe in and to work for something and not have someone just give you a handout. That's cool. It's not cool to be told that we need to direct how you think. You need to think like us. We need to take care of you because you don't know how to take care of yourself. Everyone should be equal, and you should never rise above your neighbor. That is not cool.
We just, Sarah, we came back from Hong Kong, and we talked about it at the beginning, and I had real moments I was kind of despondent about the state of things on the globe, and then, leave it to social media to both annoy you and to cheer you up. But one great person says, I'm following your posts about all these brave students and young democracy protesters in Hong Kong. How about we take all of them and we send all these terrible professors and we do a swap? I was like, let's get the best lawyers money can buy and get that done.
That's right. Get that plane ready.
So, Sarah, as we close out our conversation here, the title of this event, and thank you all for your hospitality. This has been great. We're not done yet, but it's been really great. Some people did something. You talked about what September 11th means to you, your husband's experience with the military, his wounds, what the country's been through. When you hear that, what do you want the people in the audience to know about your reaction to it?
Wow, some people did something. They sure did. My husband was a Special Forces operator who in 2011 was fighting in eastern Afghanistan against a bomb maker who had killed a number of U.S. soldiers, and by the way, a lot of Afghan civilians, children and women as well. And nobody had been able to get him for quite some time. They had tried. He was on a mission, and he did locate him. And he ended up in an armed